Hi guys, BigMonMulgrew here, and I just wanted to try doing something I haven't done before. I've tried doing commentary in live games a couple of times and I really suck at it. I can't concentrate on the game while I'm doing commentary, so I end up making big mistakes, missing clicks and stuff like that. So I thought what I'd do is I do something I see a lot of the pros do, and do live commentary, mostly following my player perspective in the game, but this is just a downloaded match. I've picked this one because there were points where we worked together really well as a team, but there were points where we pretty much fell apart. So I thought it'd be a good one to play through and point things out. I'm playing this with 4 of my guild mates, Volcom Synergy and Arcane Archer. Synergy's got his own YouTube channel. I will dig out the link somewhere and put it in the description or something. The other guy on our team in this game is just a random. This is just a standard pub game. It's a matchmake game, so we're playing against randoms too. Let's switch it to player perspective. So I'm going to be playing Puck this game. I don't get a blink dagger, if I remember rightly. I don't get blink on most games with Puck. Get raged at it a lot because that's what the pros do. And I don't believe in just copying the pros. You shouldn't do something just because the pros do it. You should do it because the situation is suited for it. And I'm sure if you talk to any of the pros, they'll tell you the same thing. You do what the situation demands. And it doesn't always demand a blink dagger with Puck. Quite a lot of the time, yeah, but
Anti-mage.
I like to try and manage without it if I can. I tend to go for a lot more active disables, hexes, silences, if I can. Sometimes you just need the survivability. Okay, so what I'm starting with, which is what I almost always start with Puck, is just a Mantle of Intelligence for the 3 intelligence and the circlet for +2 all stats. Now I get that because at some point I'm going to be going Dagon, so I'm not wasting any of my starting gold, and then I'm going to be rushing for a bottle. Now again, a lot of people tell you starting without regen is a really bad idea, and yes it is. If you're going to start a game without regen, you have to be absolutely certain that
30 seconds to battle!
That you can get to that bottle without taking significant damage.
My thanks.
And it's quite a risky way to play, very risky, because if you get low on health, so low that you can't go in and last hit, you're going to be screwed until you go back and heal up, or you wait for regen to be delivered, or you just naturally wait for your gold to tick over till you've got your bottle. So you've got to be very confident. What I would do if you're thinking of trying this,
the battle begins,
is ask your teammates to give you a couple of tangos rather than buying it yourself, and see if you can manage and not use the tangos. I'm not the best at creep blocking, clearly. What I also tend to do mid, if I'm going to try and rush my bottle, is get my teammates to check the first rune, then get them to ward up, and I will go for the runes after that. And you should, if you're planning on doing that, you should make sure you tell your teammates. If you're in a pub game, you need to tell your team that's what you're going to do. You notice I'm not great at last hitting with this, but like with any nukers, you're able to last hit pretty well with your abilities. Now with Puck, you're better off early game to in the first couple of levels to mostly last hit with your right clicks if you can, because it's much easier once you've leveled up to level 3, and you're going to be doing that before you get a bottle anyway, unless you hit every last hit. If you think you can hit every last hit while you've got somebody else playing against you, then go ahead, try it, but most people can't. Let's get a few pokes in on the Queen of Pain every now and then. I do like those wings on Queen of Pain. A little bit late there. Always a little bit late. So the problem with Puck is she, it is so squishy. I like squishy heroes though. I do play a lot of squishy heroes. Always make sure with puck as well. If you run in, make sure you phase out to dodge at least one attack. Even if you stay in to fight, make sure you phase out to dodge at least one attack. I mean, it's 50 damage you're not going to take. What you notice here is I've now got my bottle on delivery, so I'm hitting the wave constantly because I want to try and push it back, ready for when my bottle arrives. Your goal should be to get your bottle delivered, used, and then filled with a rune by the 2-minute mark. So you can see in this game I'm a little bit slow with it. So obviously the rune is going to fill it for you. If I remember rightly, I went a little bit too aggressive here. I decided to dive quite, and it was not the best idea. Although Queen of Pain really should have been backing off.
Silence. I'm out.
A little bit too early on that last hit as well. See, Queen of Pain sticking around. She wants to play. Now, what I used to build on puck is I used to build arcane boots, and I'd disassemble them later into a bloodstone, and then build them into either tranquil boots just for the movement speed, or if I got a lot of gold, into boots of travel, so that I'm not 6-slotted so easily. What I'm doing recently is trying to go for a lot of active disables. Instead of a bloodstone, I'm going for, you know, the int. All the int disables have mana regen, so you're not going to really need it. It doesn't give you a lot of health regen, but with tranquil boots, you're usually alright. So I'll be going tranquil. I'm going to buy the boots early, and then usually I'll wait a little while. This is a bit of a risky build, not having a blink dagger. You've really got to judge how the enemy team is playing and who they're playing. If you're getting locked down a lot in fights, you'll need it to get back out. You'll see as this game progresses, it's not always necessary. The way you can avoid damage in a battle for so long means you can still stay active in a fight. Yeah, I decided it probably not best to drag my courier all the way down while it's on foot. I love
Dire's middle tower
illusion
is
runes
under
with
attack.
because you can all bin behind someone and drop
Dire's
the illusions.
structures are
And it's much
fortified
harder for them to
against
walk
all
around it.
comers.
At this point, once I've got room control, I'd usually start being quite aggressive. Yeah, I think this is the point where I went a bit too aggressive on her, and I can't remember whether I actually died or not, but it didn't go well. I used the illusion runes before I dived her because I just didn't have the mana to... I didn't have the mana to orb silence, and if you can't blink in your orb, you've got to be getting a good nuke off if you're going to do it. So I thought I'd pop my bottle first. Besides, there's another rune due soon. So I've still got no sight on the rune, so I'm guessing this every time. Thankfully I got lucky. And I've used it straight away because I just wanted to top up my mana because I'm going to try and go for a kill on it. I don't think I'll get it, but I thought I want to try one, and I want to nuke the wave down pretty quick because next time I get a rune, I want to go ganking. So I want to put pressure on her. I want to keep her back. I was hoping to do a fair bit of damage to the tower as well. I mean, one of the things I like about puck is you can nuke waves pretty quick. That goes That goes for quite a lot of nukers will have the same thing. Basically, any of the nukers that got area of effect spells, the nuke waves pretty quick, and you can push up to a tower and just start chipping away at it quite early on. And again, as with a lot of nukers, you can very safely harass people from range.
Puck out!
One of my favourite matchups is playing against a Pudge as Puck. Pudge's animation for his hook is very, very slow, so if you watch his body movement you can see it coming way before he actually throws it, letting you time the phase out to miss it.
I am ever so grateful.
That's what's going to make you a really good Puck player, knowing when to dodge what attack. There's a huge amount of attacks that are actually disjointed by phasing out. So even if you want to carry on running, you can disjoint the attacks. Tower attacks are disjointed by if you phase out and instantly phase back in. Any tower attacks that are mid-flight will miss you. If you don't move, they'll look like they're going to hit you, but
No.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
My presence?
Dire's top tower is under attack.
excellent first kill. I would normally with Puck try and go for a kill before I move on. If you haven't got the mana to move in Nuke and Dream Coil, then it's usually not worth you going in. Puck's right click damage until you've got a lot of items is absolutely pathetic. Really what you're going in for a gank for is to silence the enemy and lock them down so that your allies can pick up the kills. Occasionally you'll get a kill with Puck. This game I did get far too many kills though. That was a terrible shot, but we'll pick up the kill in the TA anyway.
May you ride on nether zappers.
And sadly Synergy went a bit deep there. Flark can be a real pain sometimes because of how good he is at avoiding damage.
Silence.
And I was way too slow on that. I think I got a bit of keyboard lag there. I've got a really old keyboard. Sometimes you press a button and it just
The
doesn't go off
direst
for a couple of
elements are
seconds.
pelting Radiant's bottom tower.
I love how that curled
For your
round.
impertinence.
Radiant's
Now
bottom
that is
tower
throwing a
is under
curveball.
attack.
Now you may notice I sent the courier to the secret shop.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
What
attack.
I'm going for is mana regen, because more mana regen will keep me in lane longer than anything else. I'm first off building the Yule Scepter Divinity, and that's to give me the Yule Scepter Divinity, as well as being able to optionally lock down any enemy I want to. It'll give me the ability to phase out, Yules, and then phase out again. And that gives you a lot of ability in a fight to keep focus on you, and give your
Dire's
team
top
time
tower
to
is under
steamroll
attack.
over. And you can quite often, you can orb into battle and silence, you phase out, you Yules, as you come down from the Yules you orb again, and then you phase out and
The
you straight back
Dire's
out.
poor top
If the enemy
tower
don't time their stuns
can
really
its
well,
end be dropped.
you can
Strong
get out like
walls in
that.
place. Dire's structures are fortified.
So you can effectively use the Yules in the same way you would use a blink. You can initiate, stay safe, and orb back out. But it gives you much more options. It gives you a lot of stats that the blink doesn't give you, and it gives you the option to lock an enemy out instead. Yeah, you're never going to catch a Puck. Never. If you're playing Puck, you should really never ever be caught out. And if you've got a team that are starting to catch you out, you buy a Blink Dagger. It's just not necessary. Puck's got so much mobility. I mean, what I build on Puck eventually in a lot of games is Sheepstick, Orchid Malevolence, and the Yule Scepter. In that combination, there's nobody that's going to be able to lock you down, and you've got such low cooldown on your orb. You can go over terrain, you can go anywhere. With the extra movement speed from the Yules, you're going to be very, very hard to catch.
Radiant's
Even without a
bottom
Blink
tower
Dagger.
is under
I'm not saying
attack.
don't ever get a Blink Dagger,
Look,
because
they
sometimes
found the
it's
button.
necessary, but I'm
Radiant
just saying
structures have been fortified.
don't just buy one because it's the done thing on Puck.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Sometimes it's better to just throw your orb to make them worry about dodging that than chasing you. If I'd thrown it to get away, then she may have continued chasing.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Right, so what we've done, we were talking on TeamSpeak during this, and I asked Synergy to go mid to just soak up some of the XP while I go back, heal up, and then get back into lane, and then we'll push. The reason we did that is he got enough health to hang out there safely, and it's better that he take the XP rather than we both go back and they both go in together. Because if there's nobody there at all, they're gonna have a free push, they're gonna have free farm. He's not gonna be able to get a kill, and he would probably take a bit of damage if he went in too close, but at least he can soak up the XP.
Death.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And that way we're not getting out-leveled by the enemy.
Silence.
I shouldn't have taken an extra hit from the tower then, that was careless. And see somebody coming in.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
See, if he could have come in the trees and we wouldn't have seen him, or we'd have struggled to see him, it certainly wouldn't have been so obvious. I can't believe that that they'd just come down the river and didn't pick up the illusion room.
This changes nothing.
Seeing stars?
I can't believe they got me with the arrow either. I didn't know there was an illusion room there, I was just going to check it out on the off chance.
Time is running out for Dire's middle tower.
Again, all Synergy's going to do here is he's going to harass. Just make sure that we don't take a lot of tower damage while he waits for backup. A lot of the times, when you're in a defensive position, quite often it's difficult to push up against the tower if you've got somebody who's got area of effect and chew through creep waves. So sometimes it's a good idea, rather than going to get a kill on somebody who looks juicy, just hold it until you've got backup. It's exactly what we did then, because there's no way she was getting out of that at all. Even if that had gone badly, she was going to die. Whereas if Synergy had gone in on his own,
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
She'd have either killed him or she'd have ran away. So, there's no way he could have killed her. So
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Oh, cover your eyes! Dire's bottom tower is taking a drubbing.
Quite often you'll see people
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
harass somebody who's pushing a tower, and it's not always the best thing to do. Sometimes you'll want them to stay
Beset
there
on all sides by miscreants,
as long as they're not actually hitting
evildoers,
the
and
tower.
other people that I don't even want to mention. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
As long as they're not actually hitting the tower, then you want them to stay there until you've got backup, so that you can fight them in a defensible
Radiant's
position.
middle tower is under
Whereas
attack.
if you get one person to chase them away, you end up on even ground, or even worse, you end up with them in a defensible position.
Here I am.
There we go, the
See you
beauty
in the
of the Yule's Scepter, helping me pick up kills already. See, I'd have never been able to catch her otherwise.
Silence.
Here's one thing you probably shouldn't usually do with Puck, is I'm nuking waves, and what I'm doing is I'm taking all the farm that the carries could get. There's no carry with me at the time, but you'll notice I almost always take the whole wave.
I declare
And there's the
a
dodge.
month of warning.
So you do phase
The
yours,
direst elements are pelting Radiant's bottom
and then
tower.
there's another phase ready again. And straight into the trees and TP out. And I could have phased out again if I wanted to there, but it's just the fact that you can chain the phase Yule's phase. It is possible to hit you between phase and Yule's, but the timing's got to be perfect. What I'm looking at here is that two of our towers are being pressured, So I've walked down to mid. I'm going to take one wave mid, and then I'm going to back off. Or at least that's the original intention.
Stay near.
Until I had a friend.
Puck out. Greetings.
See, the amount of time you can spend out of combat, I'm sure they'd give it up on me then. They must have assumed I'd blink out or something else. And when you throw the orb, sometimes it's a good idea to run the other way because it puts distance between you and your orb. Now the enemies are going to chase either your orb or they're going to chase you. If you put as much distance between them as possible, when you decide to go to your orb or not, it means the enemies have got further to chase.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Now I'm probably going to die here if they've got any. I don't recall, to be honest. If they were any good, they'd have killed me then.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Thankfully I've got a bottle, so I'm going to bottle up, come straight back in. What you should be doing whenever there's a fight that you have to back out of, you should keep an eye on the fight. Don't just run. You run to a safe distance, but don't just keep running back, because if a fight is still happening, you can still contribute.
Attacking Radiant's top tower.
And you might think, well, I'm only 1 or 2 hits off death. I don't want to be anywhere near a fight because there's nothing I can contribute to.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
What you've got to consider is that, what if the fight ends up down to 2 people, 1 on your team, 1 on the other team, and they're both 1 hit off death? If you don't go back into that fight, it's 50-50 on whether you get the kill. If you do go into that fight, the worst it can go is that you both get a kill. But you just need to watch for opportunities like that. Puck's quite good with that because you can orb back in from quite a distance, and you don't have to even decide whether you want to go back into the fight until the orb's nearly at its max range.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I haven't got to worry about
Dire's structures are just magnificently fortified.
Just remember that nukes don't cancel.
The Dire's poor top tower.
Tranquil boots.
Can its end be drawing nigh?
See, I'd spotted the Queen of Pain in the woods there, so I was waiting for her to come back in.
Silence.
Your queen is...
Should not have got the kill that easily.
Here I am. I'm up.
Radiant must summon the spirit to defend their top tower. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Silence.
What I'm doing there is nuking the wave because I know I'm going to have to get out quickly after it falls.
Has fallen.
Our bottom's under attack, so I want to make sure that this wave pushes up as far as possible to give us a bit of time to play elsewhere. Because that tower is getting really low. A couple more hits and it'll be gone.
Unstoppable double kill.
Find peace, thou monster.
Perfect teamwork there. I mean, we're on comms there discussing that we're all going to TP in
tower
once.
has been denied.
You can't just
middle
TP in when there's
attack.
Several enemies there. If you're playing somebody squishy, you need to know somebody is going to be there with you. Especially somebody who, like Puck, relies mostly on disables. If I'd have gone in, or my allies, or one of my allies had gone in alone, that would have gone much differently and would have lost the tower. This is why Dota is important. You know, get yourself a microphone, use the in-game voice chat, use something like TeamSpeak, Skype, whatever. Dota is a team game. You need to communicate. And I just don't speak Morse code, so I hate it when people sit there pinging at me.
Silence.
Wicked sick. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Behold.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
See, when I turned up there, the enemies all backed off. I really wish they'd have stayed around to fight. I wanted to fight there, but thankfully for them, they decided to back off.
Greetings.
The direst elements are pelting Radiant's bottom tower.
I
Get
can't
TA
hide
silent so she can't
anything
disappear
from
again.
Here I am.
See, I'm
Stay near.
always watching the fight. See, if I wasn't watching what was happening with Ogre Magi then, or at least listening to it, he'd have probably died then. You should never go far from your teammates when they're in a fight. You should always be there to contribute, even if you've got no health. And if you are going to back off, you need to make sure you got your teammates know. Come up on voice comms and say, "Look, I'm backing off, guys." Sometimes your teammates will be in a fight, and all of a sudden they'll die, and they'll look up and say, "Where was everyone?" And the answer is everyone backed off. You can't just back off and abandon your team. Yes, if you need to back off, but make sure that your team knows, because they're watching their health, but they won't always be watching yours. I think we had the customary DC here. Every game of Dota's got to have a DC. So that part I was just considering what items I want to get next. I quite like the Orchid Malevolence on Puck. It gives you a little bit of an attack speed boost, gives you significant mana regeneration boost. I mean, by the time I've got that as well, I'll be able to pretty much continuously spam my spells. Almost. Not quite, but almost. The only reason I'm holding on to the bottle after this is for that little bit of situational regen between hits when I'm getting attacked. And because I just don't need the slot at this point. What I usually do when I'm getting rid of a bottle is I'll donate it to a support character on my team. You make it a team bottle then rather than your bottle.
And
Which you find a support who hasn't had a lot of gold is not going to be full like you are.
Thank you. My thanks.
And it's usually better value to pass it on to somebody else. Not always, but it's at least worth checking.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Again, as soon as they saw me with Puck, they legged it. Although they do try for the stun.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
That's the downside to not having the blink.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Because your
Don't shoot the
initiation's a lot
messenger.
more obvious. It's a lot harder to hit. You've got to skill shot the orb.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant must summon the spirit to defend their top tower.
Shadows take us.
If you notice when I came in on that
Radiant's
fight,
top tower is under attack.
I left my bottle in the stash and brought the rest of my items down with me because I knew I was about to get it delivered. And what that's done is it's given me more attack speed, more mana regen during the fight,
Silence.
and I don't really need the extra mana and health the bottle gives me for the next minute or so, so I can just wait for the delivery, wait till I've got the Orchid Malevolence ready. It's always worth considering that. Do I want my bottle next, or do I want to
Radiant's middle tower is under
leave it
attack.
for a minute?
Silence.
And what you find a lot of people do is they'll just,
Radiant's middle tower is under
eventually they'll
attack.
leave it in spawn.
Damage.
You leave the bottle in spawn so that you can just spam your bottle if you ever need to go back to heal up. Say when you're defending base or something.
Gather up. Silence.
Yeah, she's gonna die now.
Lucky shot.
I don't know why she even stuck around
Might
there.
wish to recapture
Radiant's
our
middle
home.
tower is under attack.
Yeah, she wasn't happy there. Might be an idea to get a force staff for Puck.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So if I ever end up in a situation like that, I can force them to break. Yeah, Mirana wasn't happy. Don't rage, guys. I mean, it's a game. Just enjoy it. Laughing out loud out. that arrow was gay. No, you shot it and missed because you're a noob.
Silence.
See, I'm stealing all the last hits here. I don't need them as much as probably the rest of my, even the supports on this team at the minute, because I've had quite a lot of farm. What we should be doing at the minute is something we will do later in the game, is one of us should be going through the jungle just above, because it gives you an extra camp of farm between you. Oh, that's right, I realised they were pushing mid and I had to back off. Synergy stayed pushing bottom because we got sighted at least 4 heroes. 1's bottom, 3 are mid. We didn't know where the other one was, but it's a pretty safe bet that he would have survived. So he's pushed it up a little bit more and then walked to mid. So the reason for that is just taking that one extra wave that he could take safely. That gives us a little bit more farm, a little bit more XP for our team, and a little bit more map control. And it's going to take them a little bit longer to push up to our towers. He doesn't want to push up too far and put himself in a difficult spot.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But it's worth sometimes just taking one more wave.
Nature, bred in tooth and talon.
The Dire's poor
And
top tower. Can its end be drawing nigh? Dire's structures are fortified.
See, one of the
Dire's
things I
top
like
tower is under
about
attack.
initiating with an orb is it gives the enemy team, it makes them hesitate.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Because they don't know if you're going to initiate with it or you just throw and harass. But until your orb disappears, they don't know. So you usually find it stops them being aggressive.
Silence.
If you look at my mana regen at this point, it's just insane. This is why, I mean, I used to get a bloodstone whip up, but that's reliant on not dying.
Cover your eyes. Dire's bottom tower is taking a drubbing.
And with an initiator, you're diving into the middle of a fight, you're going to pull aggro. There's a good chance you are going to die.
Shadows, take us.
Greetings.
Yeah, don't forget with Puck, you can always leap over trees like that. Now, I did that because if Mirana had turned around, the anti-mage would have had backup. I was hoping she would turn around, to be honest, and she didn't. But if I'd have walked around the trees, I wouldn't have been there in time, and the anti-mage would have ended up one-on-one with her. Thankfully, she was smart enough to get back. But I just wanted to make sure I was there for that little bit of help, if it was needed.
Silence. Gather round.
Enjoy yourself while you can, for Dire's top tower has fallen.
And Yules, and get in position so she's going to run past me. Silence.
Time is running
And
out for Dire's middle tower.
See what you notice? Whenever you
Dire's
throw
middle
someone
tower
up,
has fallen.
whenever you throw someone up in the air, then with the Yule's scepter, don't just sit there waiting for him to come back down to hit him again. Go and block where you expect them to run, because at the very least you're going to get an extra couple of hits in while they're trying to run past you. And
Silence.
just too slow with my Dagon. I don't think it'd have killed her anyway. It's not high enough level yet.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Visibility.
I don't always go straight for Dagon. Sometimes the money is better spent on a sheep stick early on, but it depends who you're playing. If you're against someone tanky, a big tanky carry, then sheep stick's the way forward. If you're against a DPS carry, somebody squishy like
Silence.
Templar Assassin, Phantom Assassin, Bloodseeker to an extent, depending on what he builds. Usually some extra nuke damage is the way to go. You want to burst somebody like that down. Or a centaur. Again, this is why I've got all the mana regen, so I can just spam everything. Now at this point what I'm doing, I'm waiting for the enemy to make a move so we can catch him out of position. We hadn't got a lot of sight, so rather than pushing something in a position where the enemy could have sight, I was just waiting for him to push up.
The direst elements are pelting Radiant's bottom tower.
The thing is, if we'd have just sat in lane, the enemy is getting more farm than we are. If I'm farming from somewhere I can still fight,
can hold me.
we farm faster than the enemy. And if I just take a look at
Radiant.
the XP and gold graph, things like that, like taking a wave, just still close enough to fight, still close enough to initiate, but taking a couple of extra waves is what made this happen. Things like that. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot just taking one extra creep camp, but if you do it every time you walk past one, especially with somebody like Puck who can at the snap of the fingers nuke a camp and not waste any time at all going by, you should be doing it every time. Puck's a good one, Lean's a good one. Basically anyone with a nuke where you can instantly burst down a creep camp. Like I say, and a lot of people, when they've got to defend, will just sit in lane and defend. Whereas I was still able to be at that fight, farming the jungle where I was, but we were still getting farm while we waited. And that's a really important thing. I mean, this is why TP scrolls are so important, because you can be ready for the fight on a defense from anywhere on the map, so you can farm while you wait to defend, which is really, really crucial, because just sitting there waiting to defend, you're not getting any farm, and the enemy team are getting farm as they push up to you. So anytime you're just sitting doing nothing waiting to defend, the enemy are getting more powerful than you. They're getting more gold, they're getting more XP, they're getting more levels, they're getting more items. It's generally a bad thing to sit and wait for defense. What you want to do is you get yourself a TP scroll, you go out and push another lane, or you farm the jungle. Anywhere you can farm safely. I mean, you don't want to be farming the jungle if you expect to get ganked. But anyway, you can farm safely, go out and farm, and then you TP back when the fight hits your base or your tower. Don't just sit behind your tower waiting for a fight to come to you, because you'll just get out farmed. And it goes the same with gold. Look, I mean, this is we have got a lot more kills than them, but a lot of this is the fact that we're sweeping through the jungle and we're splitting ourselves a lot more than the enemy. If we can get safe farm without us all being in the same place, that's what we're doing. And I think that's the part where they just started to pull it back, but we'll see. Let's hide that away.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Silence.
The direst elements are pelting Radiant's bottom tower.
I love the Storm Spirit announcer. See, now I'm starting to let
whether accidentally or on purpose,
take the farm.
Radiant structures. Radiant's
You really
middle
should, if you're playing
tower
somebody
is
like
under
Puck,
attack.
not to be taking farm from your carry. I get into the habit far too much of just diving in and nuking
Beset
away.
on all sides, Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
And the reason I'm like that with Puck is because you don't appear on map with Puck. If you time it right to orb in and silence, you flash up on the map and then you're gone immediately. Right, you see what we wanted to do here is rotate to bottom. I've wasted 2 seconds on that camp. And 2 seconds, maybe a little bit longer on that camp. But, you know, I've wasted seconds. And for all that time, I'm not on the map, so the enemy aren't confident in their pushes. And I'm increasing my farm rate.
Silence.
See, we'd noticed we were going to have to defend mid.
Dire's middle
But rather
tower
than just going to
is
sit and
under
wait
attack.
at mid, we go elsewhere, we push elsewhere, and then we TP in once the fight hits the tower. But we all TP in together. This is where pub games are lacking.
Silence.
Because you don't usually do things like, yeah, TP now.
Double kill.
It was an act of charity.
Greetings.
And again, we're getting pressure quite hard
Radiant's
here, so we
bottom
take a couple of
tower is
waves,
under attack.
and then we're back up for the defense. It's about this point the enemy team started to pull it back. Our team was starting to get far too divided.
Radiant's
We
bottom
basically
tower is
dominated in
under
the last
attack.
few fights, and we got overconfident.
The direst elements are pelting Radiant's bottom tower.
Greetings. Taken before my time.
That was unfortunate. Queen of Pain's poison got me. It happens. What you ought to keep an eye on is a lot of damage over time gets cancelled with Puck when you phase out. Some of it still applies and some of it doesn't. I'm not sure whether Quops does, but it's worth trying out, getting used to whose does and whose doesn't apply. Sometimes it's worth just phasing out just to dodge damage that's already applied to you.
My thanks.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
We really needed a lot more map vision here because there's
Dire's bottom tower
so
is
many
under
places
attack.
we could be farming or pushing out lanes safely if we had the vision to do it with confidence. So that's why you need wards. You need to know when you can farm a lane safely. If you can solo a lane, especially as a carry like anti-mage, you need to be farming that lane if you can. And the trouble is, if you've got no vision on the enemy, you can't do it. You can't do it with confidence.
Mysteries denied.
A strange time to here I am.
Right, so notice I backed out, but I'm still watching the fight because I'm still wondering: can I contribute? Can I come back in? Now, I happened to get hit by an arrow, but straight away, even though he's on double damage, I know that I can burst him down very, very quickly and just constantly disable him. And he's gone. Even if the double damage hadn't worn out, he'd have been dead and he did nothing to me.
It was worth.
So if I just resigned myself to the fact that I'm low on health, I've got to get out of that fight, this fight would have gone very, very differently. Because coming back in with all those disables makes a big difference. And while this fight's going on, we were on the Skype
Radiant's
chat.
bottom tower is under attack.
We're being very, very careless in this fight, and the reason we're doing that is if you look at the map, Synergy is pushing the
Radiant
bottom
structures
towers
are
and
fortified.
he's largely
They must have seen
unopposed
dark
while
clouds
they're
on the
busy.
horizon.
Was most welcome.
They're busy diving in and out fighting us. They're not watching the map
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
and they're not listening.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
So this is basically on their part. It was a failed push for mid, and because they didn't,
You heard it here first.
They didn't
Radiant's
back off.
bottom barracks just bit the
they
dust.
didn't judge that it was a bad push. They've lost their bottom tower because of it. And the
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack.
I just switched to free camera. Yeah, they lost a bottom racks as well.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack. Oh, where can this be heading?
I don't remember if they lost both. No, not both. But I mean, it's not far off. If they'd
Radiant must
realised,
summon the spirit to defend their top
if
tower.
they'd realised it was a bad push. Here's another perfect example. I've got no health at all.
Shadows.
Illusion.
But you still keep an eye on the fight. Really, I probably could have gone in and helped with the slot, but I knew Anti-Mage would have caught him if he could. I've got no more long-range lockdowns left. There's no way I'm going to orb into the middle. And here we go at this point. I wasn't sure where to go. So I just want to go and get some safe farm. And then I'm going to the jungle, even though we've not got a lot of vision, because I'm Puck. And I can phase Yul's phase for the duration of the orb. I'm pretty safe. because I can then orb over the trees. So the jungle's quite a safe place for Puck. The river isn't, because there, there's big open spaces, but in the jungle you're usually pretty safe. Unless you can get chain stunned, you usually be alright.
I die.
And that's why we carry a Dagon.
Yes.
And phase. Jules. Phase.
Gather round.
Or maybe not. Decided to go for the kill there. See, that's why. That's one of the reasons I love Puck.
Radiant's middle tower
She was
is under
completely
attack.
surprised by me diving in behind her then. She just couldn't react to it.
I never thought I'd have to say this, but Radiant's middle barrack, the Dire's poor top tower, can its end be drawing nigh?
Now we waited far too long to come back and defend there. We should have come back earlier, and we should have come back in force.
Radiant's middle barracks have fallen.
If
The
we'd have all come
storming
back
of
together, then
Radiant's
we
base
might have been able to
continues
pick up a
as
kill.
their middle barracks fall.
But I mean, we took Rax. Rax for all that tower damage. It's not the best trade, because we'd taken the Rax and we could have got back and defended the tower much, much better. But we didn't. And at the minute we've got...
Can it be? Yes!
far too split.
Radiant's bottom barracks have fallen.
If you look at the minute, I think... I can't remember who had my bottle, whether I sold it at this point. I think I'd finally give up.
The mysteries renew me.
What I've told Volcom to do is go through the jungle, that way he stays off the map for longer. And as Puck I can stay off the map anyway, because of how quickly I can nuke the wave. That way the enemy doesn't have confidence on where we are. Now, TA had come up into our jungle, but she didn't know where we were until much, much later. So it's going to take her a little while to jog up. Again, it's another situation where if we'd have had wards like we should have done, she'd have been dead. We'd have caught her out, up there on her own, and we'd have been up to kill her.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And this is how they're managing to pull it back.
Well, blow me over. Radiant's top tower has fallen.
At the minute we've got 2 people dead, 1 person sitting in spawn, and then 2 people on 1 lane. Too many people doing nothing at the minute.
Strange transformation.
It's good to be king.
So again, at this point, we're still being far, far too confident. What we should have done really is just push down top and all stay together, take your time with it, not force a fight. Because if we did not force the fight, what would have happened is the enemy team would have had to group up to defend, and they'd have not been able to defend the other 2 lanes. The other 2 lanes would have pushed up on their own, and we could have just sat there and sat there and sat there on the high ground and kept the enemy in a defensive position and just wait for other lanes to push up. Once the other lanes push up, we're in a position where we can strike. But we didn't. We kept trying to push the fight.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen.
We kept trying
All
to push it, and
Dire's
we shouldn't
structures
have.
are just magnificently fortified. Unless I am very much mistaken, which is impossible, Dire's top barracks are under attack.
And this is where they start to pull it back now.
Dire's top barracks are bad news for some of you. Dire's top barracks have fallen.
See, they've been quite dramatically out farming us for the last 5 minutes or so.
I'm out. Stay near. Behold.
You notice I'm attack walking. It's a pity he got away.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Whenever you're chasing somebody down, you shouldn't just right-click them and then let your character follow them. Because what will happen is your character won't move forward until the enemy moves out of range. And what you do is you waste all that time in between attacks where you're just standing there doing nothing. What you should do is you attack and then you click to walk. And what that does is, during the cooldown of your attack, your character is walking forward all the time. Again, wasn't really sure where to go for this, so just while my allies got silent, the enemy a bit, I thought, rather than just sitting there, I'll get a little bit of farm in the jungle. I probably should have been closer to my allies at this point, but I just wanted to push top back. And we discussed we were going to meet in top, so
Vanish.
probably not the worst thing, but we shouldn't have been so far separated. I mean, they got a kill on Beastmaster really easily then. Slark is getting to the stage where he's getting really devastating. And without my lockdowns, we just can't fight him effectively. I haven't got the raw damage, but I've got plenty of lockdowns and plenty of saves.
Gather round.
I should have ult out much sooner there.
Double damage.
That was really careless. You see, again, the enemy is split. If we had vision anywhere, we'd be able to pick these off easily. And at this point in the game, the length of
Unless I am
time-
mistaken,
if we knew we could
let's
pick
be
these
serious.
off,
Dire's
and
top
focus on
barracks are
these,
under attack.
we'd have destroyed them. But we need to focus them. We need the combination of my disables and the rest of the team's DPS. We can't have one or the other. If you notice in this fight, the enemy keep focusing me.
Unstoppable.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Love that voice.
I
Unless I am mistaken, let's be serious. Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Now what you want to be doing, whenever you're dead, you need to be doing this. You need to be looking around the map, seeing where anyone who you've got sight on is, feeding information to your teammates. Don't just assume that because you're dead, you're out of the game. You can still give the 4 people who are still alive a strategic advantage by feeding them information that they haven't got time to permanently watch the map. You can also watch a fight, and as a fight develops, it's a lot easier to see a fight develop when you're watching and you're not in the middle of it trying to survive and watch your health and stuff like that. So you can give your team cues on who to focus on and stuff like that. I mean, don't go pinging the hell out of the enemy in a fight, because you'll just confuse your team and go from one target to the other. But if you're absolutely certain that somebody's a priority target, ping it. Make sure your team focus on it.
Just in case it isn't obvious to everyone, Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
Such a good fight. It swung back and forth so many times. See, our team there, they should not have been pushing that fight while I was dead. Our team got overconfident and they got impatient. If they'd have waited till I was there with all the disables, I mean, I've got a group stun that keeps all the enemies
Radiant's
in
middle
place.
tower is under attack.
I mean, the Dream Coil to keep everyone grouped up for Venomancer's Poison Nova.
So dies.
That's devastating, but they didn't
That
want to wait.
was
And they didn't actively make the decision that they didn't want to wait. They just got a bit overconfident, thought, yeah, we can push up without him, we'll be fine. And if they'd have waited that little bit longer till I was back, we'd have had the Dream Coil to keep everyone together, which Mini's done as well.
Radiant structures are fortified.
We'd have had the Waning Rift for the silence. We'd have had a targeted silence for anyone outside that. We'd have had the Yule's Scepter to keep somebody else out of the fight, and we'd have had some pretty huge burst damage on somebody squishy. It would have made a big impact to that fight, and if my team had waited, we'd have
Unless I'm very much mistaken,
at that fight.
which is impossible, Dire, this is probably going to spoil your day, but Dire's top barracks have fallen.
Ah, now this was my bad.
You took
I
that
didn't
jig
notice
too
TA
far.
got a raw buff.
A midsummer night.
I figured I could take those two, and it would force the ones that were pushing base.
Radiant's
and
courier
defend.
has been slain.
But I,
Dire's middle tower has
didn't notice
fallen.
that she got the
Dire's
defense
ancient is under attack.
on. And I thought that I'd lost the
Storm
game.
doors in place. Dire's structures are fortified.
Monster kill.
That was just horrible. Watching that fight go down was just horrible. Just watching that, it's like, oh, it's GG.
There's something about Dire's ancient that just cries out to be attacked.
Let's change the plans.
Carrion's comfort food.
I broke out.
That was such a good fight, so tense. I love really close games like this where both teams are nearly dead. I mean, if we had a single mistake, a single misplay, we could die just to a few hits. I mean, we've still got a tier 2 towers in mid and bottom lane, but they're still going to try and push
pain without consequence.
still going to push a top in. See, I was watching Slark there. I mean, obviously Synergy had spotted him, but I was watching him to
Dire's
feed
ancient
information to
is
the rest
under
of my
attack.
team that they need to all group up. And if I hadn't passed that information on immediately, we may well have lost
There's
this.
something about Dire's ancient that just cries out to be attacked.
And that is the difference the Disables makes. Gives everybody a chance to hit perfectly.
No.
You took that jape too far.
I mean, they kill Slark taking hardly any damage then.
Big silence.
Now what we decided to do at this point is my team was going to push mid whilst Lark's dead, and I'll defend. But we knew Queen of Pain was hanging around in the jungle somewhere, so I'm orbing looking for her. And it was so close, I nearly thought she'd ran back to defend and pushed up. But something, you know, I just had a feeling she was just trying to get round me and run back in. I thought if she runs back in with our ancient that low, we're not going to have time to react. So I need to stay here.
I'm out. Out of my way. There's silence.
Again, the amount of disables, this many disables on Puck, it's just ridiculous. See, I saw her vanish and I knew that they were trying to set up a kill. I probably could have done better here, but see, at that point, I was a bit worried when I realised I should have got further back. Realised I could pick up the one kill. Now, what I'll do is, that's actually got me
Radiant's
enough
middle
gold.
tower is under attack.
Between that and the tower, it's got me
Radiant's
enough
middle
gold for a
tower
buyback.
has fallen.
But what's happened in the meantime, if I just go back just a little bit and watch Synergy.
What a debacle!
Just fast forward a little bit. So if we watch this fight develop. Now what's happened, Synergy is he's keeping an eye on me, we're communicating, he knows I'm about to die. And he himself is nearly dead. But he manages to get out. So he's safe. He could just run back to base now. He
You were a fool to oppose.
He could wait for his mech. I don't know what the rest of the team has got here, but he sees me die. And his only way to get back to base in time at this point is to use a buyback. So he runs in and
Radiant's
dives the
middle
tower,
tower is under attack.
dies deliberately, and buys back.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
I had not expected
Thankfully though,
reborn for another
if I slow that
million.
down a
Radiant's
bit,
ancient is
our
under
team
attack.
taking that tower had enabled me to buy back, come in, and completely destroy the Queen of Pain with Synergy,
See you.
which leaves the whole enemy team dead, a Venomancer, and a anti-mage pounding away at their ancient. And no way for them to defend it because they're all out of gold and buybacks.
Dire victory!
Oh, and don't do this, guys. Don't do it. We lost because somebody's retarded. They were losing for most of the game. They pulled it back, mostly because of how well Slark had farmed. But I mean, look at this. As a support, as a nuker, 225 for somebody who's not pro. I think that's pretty good. Anyway, hope you found this useful. Hope you've enjoyed it. Really, I ought to get the guys on Skype next time or on TeamSpeak, because especially Steve. The banter's hilarious. But I hope you've enjoyed this. You know, leave me, any comments, suggestions, thoughts on the gameplay. You know, leave them in the comments if you like, guys. I always appreciate feedback and hear what you think. I hope this is playing smoothly now. I'm trying different streaming settings. But yeah, just hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.